All right, so this is where I'm at with the whole center console thing. This is the boot that I got on eBay for 20 bucks. It's from an SR5 90s or 89 pickup. We've got our two shifters here, our 15 millimeter and our 26 millimeter. This is the original Toyota console for the shifter. So at this point, what I'm doing is just trying to take some measurements so I can mark with a paint pen where I want to cut this. I guess I'll just use an angle grinder. This obviously needs to be filled in. I'll measure that and then cut a stainless plate and then just use some screws to tap into this. This I'll probably get rid of. And I was thinking of using this space because it actually works almost perfect for the power-driven diesel AFC live tuner. It would require some sort of a different mounting or something, but it's almost the correct dimensions for that. The only issue is then it's kind of awkward to adjust the dials from that location because it's so kind of crammed in there. This fridge, which I'll link down in the description, is going to be awesome. I've already used it several times. Unfortunately, because of the configuration with the charger, I'm gonna have to trim this a little bit here, and I want the cord as close to this as I can so I don't have extra wiring going from the back here or anything, and it'll just go right up on the back of this console, and I'll just have the 12 volt come out here. And the best part about this fridge is that it has an extra USB so that you can plug in your phone up here. This is a wireless charger, so I'll just do this. I'm gonna, you know, zip tie it maybe somewhere or just have it where it's out of the way of the shifters. Other thing I don't like about the AFC Live being on this side here is that this is the max fuel button. It's not on right now. That gives you full fuel. That's just where you've tuned it so far. And I feel like the boot may contact that at some point and then it'll just give me an extra 150 horses when I'm shifting. This is currently in 4th gear and 4 high. So I like the placement of the boots. They've got enough length to kind of give a lot of, you know, maneuverability. But what I'm thinking is putting this down here at this 90-degree angle. It still gives me really good access to all of the fuel rate and the pre-boost setting. I can read my gauge, which I couldn't do right here, and I have great access to the full fuel button, which I rarely use, but it's nice to have. I think that would be really clean, and I could potentially drill a couple holes in here and take these airlines and get them out of the way and have it look really nice and snazzy. But I'm not quite sure. That's one iteration. Let me take this off. What I was thinking is you could almost, because if you look at where these are clocked or where they're positioned from the kit, they're positioned almost perfectly enough to just use the stock one, maybe cut a hole in it for the other shifter. So I'm kind of at an impasse. I kind of want to just do that because it looks cleaner, right? I mean, you're using all OEM. I don't know. I'd have to cut this a little bit, obviously, to make this, to get around this. I could maybe re-sew it or something. This is going to have to be cut back here because remember the bottom end is the wrench side, open-ended wrench of this and this rubber boot, and everything's going to be pushing up on this. So I'm in 4th gear right now and I can't even shift it, or I can barely shift it without it causing friction. But the console is lined up perfectly. Then I could still, you know, put a steel plate stainless in here, so that would seal that. So I'm gonna sit and think about it for a second. Again, I like the clean look of that, but I kind of like the look of these as well, and I've already bought it, so it's got that money burning a hole in my pocket, or, you know, wanting to use what I paid for already. But let me think about that. All right, so here's where I'm at with it. I had to cut. I didn't have to. I was just being lazy and mocking up where this boot will sit, and yeah, it's just a little too far for my liking. This is in 3rd gear now. This is in 4th high. So if I was to, you know, no, it's not a good fit. Almost. I mean, it's very close, you know, which is pretty cool. But anyways, we're gonna toss that idea, and we're gonna go back with the original. So what I need to do now is basically figure out exactly where this is going to sit. So I'm going to rip that out of there and probably make a plate out of stainless to make it look really nice. I worried I got a little too ahead of myself there, and I didn't explain how I exactly got these shifters onto the linkage and onto the transmission. So this is a 15 millimeter wrench, and I ended up welding it to the original yoke from the transfer case. This is the Toyota transfer case. This is the adapter from Dustin, and I welded this 15 millimeter straight to there, and I got a really nice, beautiful looking weld with my flux core welder. I'm really proud of that, actually. I might actually post that on some forums. Just kidding. I cut this off, and then I welded it to there, painted it so it wouldn't rust. Laugh out loud. And then what I did here was, this is a 26 millimeter. So I went to the I went to the hardware store and got a big nut, welded this to the nut, and then made sure that the nut fit over the yoke of the NV4500. So it's on there really secure. Obviously it's in first now because I'm on a hill, but that's how that's done. And then this is the original Toyota automatic transmission cover for the tunnel. So it has that bend in it. So that's why I wanted to keep this. This whole console is kind of Frankenstein together, which it is what it is. So anyways, I just cut open, I took measurements. So this is a steel plate here that's welded to the original Toyota cover. All of the additional provisions for the automatic transmission and the buttons have been cut off. This is sealed, and then it has a sound deadening on the bottom. These are two Spectre shift boots. I can link these in the description as well. I got them off Amazon. I knew that they would work for this application. Originally got steel because I was going to weld this to this plate, but there's rubber on the bottom, and I don't want to be burning rubber, no pun intended. And this works out really well. So the issue I'm having though is that right here, there's not enough coverage for covering, which I already had to cut out a little extra from this the sheet metal. There's not enough coverage here because of this bolt hole. And I could get a flat-headed bolt for this, but I'm not too worried about it. What I'm going to end up doing is just getting more sound deadening in order to cover. It's basically just right here. There's a small hole. So again, not a big deal. I'm probably just cover it right now, put some sound deadening material in there, and call it a day. So this is how you would put this on. It's actually very simple. And the hard part is forcing that wrench, open-ended part of the wrench through. See if I can do this with one hand. I can, because it's already been stretched. Then you'll rotate the whole thing and slide it down the shaft. Boom. Now I'm just going to thread all the bolts in to make sure that it's lined up. See, the issue is here, even when this bolt's all the way pulled it down, because of the head of that bolt, there's going to be a little bit of a gap here. The gap is just kind of right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a little bit extra material, the sound deadening material, put it in the places it needs to be, and then I'll bring you back. All right, so I put the sound deadening material extra on the areas where it looked like it was unsealed. So let's go ahead and put the cover back on. I'm going to get all the bolts in just to make sure it's centered. All right, so I've gone ahead and cut out this whole section of the plastic interior of the console, and then I just used a piece of cardboard to conceptualize how I want the plate to look. I was trying to decide if I want to do a cup holder in here, but I'll probably just do that later or on the actual fridge itself. But what I did is I just took this over to our machine shop over here and kind of just used a paint pen to outline what I want this to look like. So I'm going to get this last piece cut out and then use the flap discs to smooth out all the edges so they're not sharp, and then we'll see how it looks. So I actually ended up scratching that last faceplate that I had made and opted to kind of just get a little bit bigger with one and bend. What I did is I cut little provisions here and then bent it to the angle of the center console I might end up just remaking a whole new one. I'm not quite sure yet. I kind of like the way it looks. I kind of don't, but at least now I know how to bend material without using a brake. So I'm utilizing the original Toyota center bezel. Unfortunately, like the Supra, there's an angle, won't come through on camera, but you guys know 80 series is angled towards the driver. So there's a lot of like, not a lot, but like there's like a slight angle in this, a twist in this whole thing. So it was really interesting. So, but anyways, this is a Harbor Freight 26 millimeter and 15 millimeter. This is a Toyota, I think 89 through 95 pickup boot. So they're in line, and Dustin, the guy who made the kit, you know, pretty much told me that because of the way the NB4500 and the transfer case is set up, it works out really well for these to just be behind each other. So that's it for now. This is a cool little 15-liter Alpicool $150 fridge on Amazon, and I'll bolt this center bezel in here, and on the other side I won't be able to here because I'm not utilizing the stock Toyota center console, but it doesn't need to because it's so secure with this fridge. This fridge fits in between both seats pretty much perfectly, and it uses the cushioning in order to keep it, you know, from moving around. There is a slight angle. I'm gonna go ahead and just put something on the bottom to kind of correct that, but it works really well. To give you an idea, I'll hop in the driver's seat. All right, so this would be what it looks like from the driver's seat. I may end up flipping this back around because obviously you want it to open towards you as the driver, but because of where this extra USB provision is and the plug, I think it just works out better to be here. Even though this cord is very long, I still have to figure out where I'm going to mount this. Because I decided to bend this and use bolts, there's no real room for this on this side here, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to figure out a solution for that. But the next video is gonna have to do with wiring, and that's why I haven't patched up the glove box. I'm gonna use that firewall plug in order to do a dual battery system that I'm gonna make. I think just the carrier out of this, bend it again, since it was successful. So now that I know, still need to make a hood stack cover too. So all that stuff's coming up, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Like I said, links down in the description for all of this stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.